Hi everybody, I am Morgan Elizabeth Millogo and I am a contemporary shamanic practitioner and storyteller, and this is episode 1 of Mindfulness with Morgan. So mindfulness, what does that mean? Everyone talks about mindfulness now. I want to be mindful of my thoughts. I want to be mindful about this. I want to be mindful about that. We are in a time where mindfulness it's becoming a little bit trendy, which is fantastic. It's great. I fully support all of this. You know, it's amazing how nowadays yoga and meditation and all of these, new age, healings and spiritual things, they are becoming more trendy and people are opening up more to that. And that is fantastic because that means that our communities, our states, our countries, our world is starting to become more awake. So I decided to start this little series because I want to talk about mindfulness. I want to share some of the stories. I've had a huge spiritual journey, a big part in the last 5 to 6 years, but it's been going on. I can see how it's been going on my entire life, and I want to share these stories because I'm a storyteller, because I'm a shamanic practitioner, and I want to talk about how to take all of this spiritual work that we're doing on ourselves, all of this spiritual ether, changing our thoughts, changing ourselves, becoming more of who we are. I want to talk about how to bring that here to the earth plane. That sounds a little like earth plane. What is she talking about? When you meditate and when you're gaining tools, or when you're talking about it, or you're like, oh, I need to think more positively, there are all these things that can be very heady or make you feel like, after you do a great meditation, you're like, I'm floating and everything is beautiful. Everything's wonderful, and that is a fantastic state to be in, don't get me wrong. But then there's being here. There's the bills to pay. There's the job that you're working. Do you love your job? Do you not love your job? Do you need to change something? There's our friendships. There's our romantic relationships. There are the human complicated things that are going on that we have to deal with, and maintaining the everything's beautiful state is not something that's easy to do, and that's not even what I want to try to accomplish with having this podcast. The work that I do is I am a shamanic practitioner, contemporary certified shamanic practitioner through the Isle of Avalon Foundation in England, and I work with spirit guides. I listen to drumming, I go on what is called a journey, and I meet my spirit guides. I have animal spirit guides and human form spirit guides, and when I'm working with a client, they tell me what I can do for the client at this time. Perhaps it's guidance, perhaps it's healing involving the soul, healing something from a past life. There's all sorts of stuff. I'm going to talk about that later. But the whole point is that we all want to live as our true, authentic selves. Another way to phrase that is you want to live as your highest self, in your highest vibration, the best version of yourself. Whatever phrase works for you, we all want that. We want to be who we are and the best possible version of who we are. So that's what I like to do. I like to help people on their journey to living the highest version of who they are. So with that being said, in this first episode, I had a whole plan. I had I'm going to tell this story about this journey and this thing in my life. And a lot of these episodes I'm going to share, I'll pick a theme and I'll share an experience I had. Maybe that includes a journey, maybe it's just a life experience. I'll tell a story that goes with my thoughts. But this is a different, things changed. because of this last weekend and the shootings in Orlando. And I have been having a difficult time processing what has happened. This is real. This real horrible thing happened to, the LGBTQ community, which is a community that I love, that has been a huge part of my life. And it was a community that I was a part of that helped me grow, discover different parts of myself. And I used to be part of the burlesque scene in Seattle, which was very much a part of the queer scene in Seattle. And that was such an amazing, important time of my life journey. So this horrible incident, this shooting that happened, this one hit close to home. It's like all the mass shootings that have happened, they're horrible. And then sometimes it hits you a bit closer. And like it gets a little bit closer to you, into your reality of your everyday life. So what do we do when something like this happens? We have people say, promoting love, which is fantastic. Love is the greatest power on earth. I will talk about love a lot. I want to help spread love. Love it's amazing. I'm going to move on from it though. Spread love. People are saying that they're tired of prayers, that they want action, which is also fantastic. We have the rants going on Facebook. We have the opinions out there. We have the media telling whatever part or parts of the story they wish to tell. And we are still here having to deal with the energy of this, with our grief, and with that notion of how do I live? How do I live in a country that has this type of violence? How do I live in a world that has this type of violence? What do I do on like a daily basis? You can compartmentalize it, you can choose to ignore it. But I think because this is about mindfulness, one of the things that I would like to bring up is that, in case you aren't aware, we are in a transformative time. We were in the Piscean age, and the Piscean age was a male-dominated energy, and definitely had the Piscean age can kind of be summed up as there's one way to do things. This is the right way, and everyone's like, this is the right way, this is the right way, this is the right way. And there's arguments between everyone about what is the right way. So that's how I like to sum up the Piscean age. And now we have just moved into the Aquarian age. And this happened, there's different perspectives. This either happened on 11/11/2011 or 12/12/2012. I mean, it really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. But we've moved into the Aquarian age. What does this mean? We are now transitioning from male energy being the dominant energy into female energy being the dominant energy. And there's no one is better than the other. They are different. Every human being has male and female energy within them. So male energy is definitely an energy of action. It's definitely an energy where it's like, and now I'll get things done and this way, and we'll get things done this way. And that can be incredibly beneficial. If you're trying to start like a new business or clearing out something in your life, or the male energy, tapping into the male energy within yourself, awesome. It's a great way to do that. So the female energy of the Aquarian age, I don't know if I can even fully understand it yet. Because one thing I've noticed within myself is my female energy rising and me being comfortable with the female energy maybe being the more dominant energy within inside myself. And that kind of makes sense. I feel what I've witnessed is the relationships between men and women are changing, because not only are women noticing their female energy rising, coming into more power, but men are experiencing a rise in the female energy within them coming up as well. And that's changing things within them, and it's changing things within us, and our dynamics are starting to shift, which is really fantastic. So it's an important time that we have great compassion for one another. You know, women have compassion for the men because they're experiencing something new and different and they're shifting. And then let's have compassion for each other, because women, you know, I guess generally speaking, but we are coming into our own power. We really are. And that's amazing. And the world is going to shift, because now it's not about this way and this way's right. No, this way's right. It's like, oh, this kind of works for me over here. And this kind of works over here. And this works here too. It's about bringing together everything that works to help you live as you, to help you be a good person. If you believe in God, to help you serve God. If you believe in the universe, to walk your highest path in the universe. At the end of the day, it's about being a good person, being in love with who you are, spreading love to others, and living as your true authentic self. The problem with this transformation is that with any change that happens, there is great resistance. And I'm sure you can probably think back in your life where maybe there was a change coming and maybe you were really excited about it, but there was still a part of you that was scared. There was still a part of you that was resisting what was going on, despite maybe it was a dream coming true for you. And you're still like, why am I resisting this? Why does a part of me want to go off and hide and, not want to do it? That's what happens when there's transformation. It's going to bring up stuff in you that wants to, block going forward because it's scared. You could call this ego, you could call this fear. It doesn't matter what you call it. It's a part of you that wants to cling to what is known. You want to cling to how things were. But your true self knows it wants to go forward. So, when I was doing my shamanic training, which I did I started it the beginning of 2011 and I ended it the beginning of 2012. So right during the shift, I remember my teachers saying to us, the shift is happening, and what we're going to see during this time is we're going to see the gap between those who are willing to awaken, to open their minds, to do work on themselves, to become more mindful, aware, higher consciousness, whatever you want to call it. We're going to see the gap between those people and the ones who don't want to, the ones who are going to really resist it. That gap is going to widen. And as a result, we're going to see more violence. We're going to see more drug overdoses or accidental drug overdoses, and we're going to see more suicides. And hearing them say this to me was kind of like, oh my God, really? And sadly to say, my experience is that has become true. We can see it with, some of the celebrity deaths that have happened in the most recent years. I know that there's been one person in particular I think of who I know who did commit suicide, and we can see it in the United States right now, especially with the Donald Trump supporters, the Bernie Sanders supporters, and the Hillary Clinton supporters. You have Donald Trump is representing, as many spiritual people have know this, but Donald Trump is definitely representing that old male energy and that resistance to change. And his supporters are identifying with that resistance. And then you have the Bernie Sanders supporters who are just we're waking up, we're seeing stuff, we're angry, we want change, we want it now, we don't trust the system and what's going on, and we're sick of it and we want change. And then you have the Hillary Clinton supporters who are kind of in the middle. You know, they want change too, and they are ready for the type of change that Hillary Clinton will bring. And Hillary Clinton, I feel she kind of falls into the middle of it. She's not the extreme of the Trump supporters, or I guess the extreme of, you could call extreme of the Sanders supporters, but there is a wake up that is happening. And with what's going on politically, you know, with people being like, we're done with the big banks running things, we're done with the media not telling us the truth. I mean, one of the things for me that just gets so crazy is, you know, watching a little bit of the news on TV, looking at some of the news stuff online, and a lot of the time I'm just like, what's real? What's the truth? It feels to me like, if you watch the TV show The Affair, fantastic TV show, where it does each episode does the perspective of two different people, and part of their stories are together. So, and each person views themselves completely differently than how maybe their partner views them. And in interviews, the actors have been asked, like, well, what's the truth? What really happened? What's the truth? And they're like, well, the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. That's how I feel about the media and how they're reporting on things. Everything that I'm looking at, I try to keep an open mind, and I'm like, the truth is probably somewhere in the middle between what this report is saying and what this report is saying. And that's really rough, because I'm like, it would be great if it was just the truth all the time, as opposed to different perspectives as to what's going on. I don't know, maybe that statement's not quite true. But moving on, we're in this turbulent time, and people are waking up and they're tired. They're tired of the old way. I think that's one thing that's clear. Whether you're a Trump supporter, Hillary, Sanders, it doesn't matter. Everyone's basically being like, we're tired of like the way things have been. We're tired of the old ways. And then you have the Stanford rape situation, which has been awful, completely awful. And also a wake-up call, and people are like, we're done with rapists getting away with raping women. We're done with it. There needs to be justice. So there's that outcry. And now the shootings in Orlando this last weekend, and people are saying, I'm done. I'm done with how things have been. We need change. So it is a turbulent time. It's a scary time. It's a time of anxiety. And how do you, and I ask myself this every day, how do you live out of fear when there are these horrible things that are happening, and when we are in this transformative, turbulent time? How do we not let fear get the best of us? And I think it's first important to acknowledge that there's fear there. Like for me, it's, you know, I'm not going to say, oh, I'm not afraid. No, I have fears and anxiety. I mean, what sucks is I went to a movie a couple weeks ago, and I guess in the middle of the movie, someone pulled a fire alarm somewhere. We didn't hear the alarm, but the movie stopped and the lights went up. And what goes through my mind is, I'm like, do I need to duck under my chair? Is someone like about to like walk in here and open fire? Because what do we know about America? You're not safe at the movie theater. You're not safe at school. You're not safe at a nightclub. You're not safe at a church. Like, there's no true sanctuary. There just isn't. So when you live in a place where like, okay, there's no true sanctuary, because anyone could come at any time with a gun and shoot, how do you live? How do you live? Lots of people want to answer with love, and yes, you live with love, and you have to make a choice. You have to make a choice that you're not going to let fear get the better of you. You have to make a choice that you're going to live your life every day the best that you can. It has to be a choice. And even in making that choice, my big thing for today, what I want to offer with everything that's going on, when it's all getting to be too much, you're feeling that grief inside, you're feeling the anxiety, you've been looking at too many different articles on Facebook or rants or people posting things on Facebook, and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that person believed in that, and I can't believe they believe in that, and oh, they're... Go outside. Go outside, find a patch of grass, and just go sit down. Go sit on the earth. That is the tool I want to give to all of you today. In this crazy time, go outside and sit on the ground. You don't have to make a big production of it. You don't have to try to meditate. I'm not going to tell you to meditate. I'm not going to tell you to visualize. I'm not going to even tell you to breathe. Well, breathe. You should always breathe. But go outside. If you work in an office building, a concrete office building, and there's just basically a parking lot, but there's a little bit of, maybe manicured grass somewhere, and maybe that's the only earth you have access to. Go sit down. I don't care how long. I don't care if it's 2 minutes. Go sit down and see how that changes you. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it does just a little bit. But do that and then go and do it again. Anytime you need to. Because our connection with the earth is key during this time. And I'm not going to tell you to recycle. I'm not going to tell you to give up your car. I'm not going to tell you to save this planet. All I'm saying is, when life is getting to you, when the news is too much, the Facebook is too much, your boss is too much, your roommates are too much, your parents are too much, your whole family's too much, your partner is too much, your cat is too much, your dog is too much. Anytime, go outside, sit on the earth, and that's it. Have your experience with the earth, whatever that is, just sitting there, letting your mind wander. Maybe you do want to meditate. Maybe you want to journal. Maybe you want to read a book. Maybe you don't want to do anything. You just want to sit there. It doesn't matter. So that's what I'm giving to you this week. Yes, sign petitions. Yes, contact your congressman, your senator. Vote. If you feel a need to run for office because you feel you could make a difference, do that. If you feel like all you can do right now is sign a petition that supports whatever it is you believe in, then do that. Yes, do something. And then go sit on the earth. So I think that's going to be it for this week. There's so much that's going on, and I look forward to being here. Sorry, excuse me. I'm looking forward to being here with you every week to share with you whatever messages I get from my guides, to share with you stories that I've been through, stories about forgiveness, about love, about regret, about responsibility, about abundance. I mean, there's a lifetime of stories to tell, and they keep happening. And I want to share with you because I hope that something I say maybe resonates with you. Some of it may not, but some of it might. And if anything sparks in you something that you need, a thought, an idea, an inspiration, a tool that you maybe want to use and it helps you, then that's great. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing this. And I am available for shamanic sessions. I do a lot of remote work. It doesn't have to be in person. You can contact me at morgan.millogo@gmail.com. That's Millogo is Millogo. But you know, I'll put it, for those listening, I spelled it, but I'll put a little thing on too, on the video. And then there's my Facebook page, Rose and Fire Spiritual Guidance. And that's going to have Mindfulness with Morgan on it. And then I'll put some other shamanic stuff up there of the work that I do. So yeah, have a great week, everybody. Go sit on the earth. And I'll see you next time. Thanks.